Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week we are diving into the career of a legend of professional wrestling, yet weirdly a legend that WWE specifically does not really talk about.
I've been talking about him a bunch recently, I could tell you that.
Well, they've had specific reason to bring him up recently, and that, of course, is Pedro Morales. The reason they bring him up recently, Roman Reigns has officially passed, or is about to. He's officially passed it.
I think he's passed him already.
Probably
maybe SummerSlam. It might actually be around SummerSlam.
I think it's SummerSlam. He will be passing Pedro Morales' reign of over 1,000 days as WWF champion. That's soon. So we decided to dive into the career of Pedro Morales, see what he's all about. Because on this show, we look at a wrestler's career through 5 of their most important matches. In the case of Pedro Morales, it's 5 matches we can find in their totality on the internet.
It's hard. It is really hard.
Because Pedro Morales, for those who don't know, wrestled a long time ago. His first match was in 1959.
The first match on here was 12 years into his career. He already looked like he was 40 years old.
I think he's one of those people who looked 40 for their whole life, a.k.a. Greg Oden. Greg Oden was my favorite prospect of all time. I'm not kidding. I was obsessed. I was convinced he was going to be the next Tim Duncan. I was in.
I was still a baby, and I think that was the first draft that I remember.
Like you paid attention?
Yeah, paying attention to. I remember drafts previous to that, watching the draft, but I don't remember really much of the build up to leading to it. I was just like, oh, this is happening. Okay, cool. This is cool.
Well, for those who don't know, Greg Oden, number 1 pick over Kevin Durant out of Ohio State, looked like he had put in 30 years at the railroad before he got drafted.
It's true.
He's crazy. He's the oldest looking guy I've ever seen.
Now, another one is, you probably won't understand this reference, but this is for my soccer / football fans out there. Diego Costa, who was a striker.
Yes.
Who used to play for Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, I think Atletico Mineiro over in Brazil. He looks like he's literally, he looked like he was 50 years old. The guy was 26.
But this ties in to, I think, Pedro Morales' appeal is that he just looks like he's a small, strong man who's just happy to be here. He's just happy to be here, represent the people.
Is he small, though? Or is he just a normal, 6-foot man who's thick, but compared to everyone else?
So he's 5'10" listed.
Okay.
So lying on dating profiles, 6 feet. 235. Damn. Stout. Mike Allstott looking son of a bitch. That's
a Mike linebacker right there.
That's an original fullback right there. God bless him.
5'10". That's a Mike linebacker right there.
Looking like London Fletcher. I saw a thing recently, and it was like guys become friends by just yelling random athletes at each other, and I think that's what happened on this podcast. Because we just made lots of references to athletes that are just old. It's like, yeah,
I fucking love LaDainian Tomlinson.
I also love LaDainian Tomlinson. He's top 5. He's top 5 running backs for me all time. I love him.
He's my number 1 running back ever. I love that man. He's still my favorite football player aside from Randy Moss.
How dare you come out here with that Barry Sanders slander? I will not hear it. I love Barry. When Pedro Morales was 17 years old, he trained under Barbara Roja to become a wrestler and participated on a card in New York City. He then went to Worldwide Wrestling Associates, 50th State Big Time Wrestling. What state do you think is 50th State Big Time Wrestling?
Is that Alaska?
It's Hawaii. You had a 1 and 2 shot of which far away one is. The big thing about Morales that we're going to talk about, because we're going to see it progress through his career, the first ever Triple Crown champion.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment, winning the world title, the Intercontinental title, and the tag titles.
He was the first one to do it in a time period where people just didn't do that, because you didn't really see a lot of the guys who were, and also he did it in descending order. But I think it's the craziest part about it.
He did.
But you don't see a lot of guys doing it like that, where they, especially that way, where they start at the top and then slowly progress down the card and win the titles on their way down. They should have just I feel like guys work their ways up where they win one of the two, like a tag title or an IC title, and then they just end up in the main event scene. And then after the main, after their main event run, not even just with the title, but just their push or whatever. they just kind of hover around that scene, and then they just kind of hover in the space between the main event and the mid card, where just them within themselves are like an attraction.
Would you say that like Kevin Owens is in that range right now?
Well, he's literally the tag champion.
Yeah, I mean that's why I thought of it. It was like, he like, mid card title, Universal title, and now he's kind of.
I think like Seth Rollins was in that for like the last few years,
true,
up until he now won the secondary world title.
I kind of want them to give it to Roman. So Morales made his first appearance in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. That's how old this is. November 21st, 1970, teaming with Chief Jay Strongbow. Yeah. Became a member of the roster. He joined Gorilla Monsoon the following month, scoring a win in a 3-fall rematch against the Mongols. In his single debut, he defeated a guy named Joe Turco. He started to build up a bunch of wins. He won the vacant WWF US Championship, defeating Freddie Blassie in a tournament final. But we're moving all the way to him challenging for the big belt. It is February 8th, 1971. Pedro Morales versus Ivan Koloff for the heavyweight championship, of course, in Madison Square Garden. And we have a re-release of this. Yes. And it's being broadcast by JR.
Yeah, JR does a great job.
He does a really great job. This, you're thinking like, oh, Ivan Koloff is the WWF champion. So he must, like, how long has it been since he took it off of Bruno Sammartino? It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been 3 weeks.
He ended Bruno's longest reign, the 7.5 years, 8 years, whatever that was.
2,800 days.
Yeah, the long one. Because I know Bruno had 2 of those motherfuckers. The longer of the 2.
I do love hearing the thing about where apparently Bruno thought that his eardrums had popped on the move he took from Koloff. Apparently, because it wasn't that but nobody booed when he lost. It just went silent. And so he thought that on the move he took from Koloff, he'd burst his eardrums because he was like, I can't hear anything. And it's because MSG just was quiet, which MSG has never been quiet. Have you seen Knicks fans?
Bang, bang.
I forgot about that until right now. I want to go watch all those over again.
Oh my God, I got one. Someone made an edit of, because so it's just, we got to get it out of the way now. Because last night, Kota Ibushi was announced as the 5th member of the Elite. For Blood and Guts. We will touch more on that later.
Yes.
And someone made an edit. You remember when the Knicks beat the Hawks in that one game in the playoffs? It was like game 3.
Spider-Man yelling at people?
Yeah, they just went crazy with the videos outside of MSG. Someone like edited over. Like it's still the same audio with all the people, but they edited it like some of the stuff where they like, like fuck Trae Young, they'll say like fuck, like, and then it's like a computer automated Vince or like fuck Triple H, and like if you're with the Fed, fuck you or whatever, stuff like that. Like it's still like the same reactions and all that stuff. It's fucking hilarious, and I feel the exact same way. Tony Khan, Booker of the Century.
Tony Khan really making money moves. You gotta appreciate it.
Amazing.
The reason Javier is over the moon more than the rest of us probably, and we're all thrilled, is because he will be at Blood and Guts in 2 weeks.
A week, actually. It's next week.
My God, he will be there.
Yes, they are coming. First ever show they've had at the TD Garden where the Celtics play the Boston Bruins, where Drake performed last night.
Yes,
as of the time of this recording. It is a significantly bigger venue, and I got tickets like as soon as the show was announced with my buddy. And the second Blood and Guts was rumored, I was like, this is crazy. This can't be happening to me. There's no shot this is happening. Because the reason why this is even more important to me is because last year, War Games Survivor Series, guess where that was, Evan?
Boston.
And I wasn't there, and I had the chance to go, and I didn't capitalize on it. So now I get to actually see one, except this one has fucking Kota Ibushi in it.
It's good times. Let's talk about this match with Pedro Morales and Ivan Koloff in it. In terms of wrestling, what'd you think?
Honestly, I thought it could have been... I expected it to be worse and more boring.
I expected it to be slower. There are going to be some matches we talk about this week where the pace is unbearably slow.
I'm looking at you, Giant Baba.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. This one's not bad. Koloff is doing a lot of good heel work. He's starting to leave the ring. Morales gets a shoulder block early. He gets back body drop, tripped up by Koloff. He hits a drop kick. Didn't expect to see a drop kick.
Yeah.
In 1971.
Big dude. He's like, Jay said he was like 295 pounds.
It's a lot. And then we get 2 side headlock takedowns, and we got a long headlock spot. There's a lot of cranking the neck.
I love a good headlock takeover.
And there's a lot of them this week.
Listen, man, a headlock takeover is just a move that is fundamentally being brought back single-handedly by MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, specifically in his feud with Darby Allin. Like, that was the whole thing. Like, you know, he was at the end of the fucking match, their feud that they had, I think it was Full Gear, like 2 years, not the one that just happened, the one before that.
Yeah.
He beat Darby with a headlock takeover after cheating. Obviously, he hit him with the dynamite ring. And then the freaking fatal 4-way that they had for the belt, the Pillars match, the end of it was literally him winning with a headlock takeover after Darby freaking landed on the belt. It's just amazing. MJF bringing back 70s wrestling.
So Koloff breaks free, gets a chin lock of his own. Ref's trying to check Morales, but Koloff keeps getting in the way. The screen goes fuzzy because it's that old of footage. Morales with some Morales with some right hands. Koloff tries to offer his hand as a peace offering. We get a Greco-Roman knuckle lock, which is how people solved disagreements back in the 70s. It's a test of strength.
Morales gets a monkey flip off of that. Koloff does a headlock, does an eye rake. Then he puts on a bear hug, and the crowd absolutely comes unglued.
Oh, this is the best reaction for a bear hug I've ever seen.
It is as much heat as an individual has ever gotten. I kid you not. Like, Roman Reigns the night after WrestleMania 33 didn't even get this much heat.
This must have been something that led to the pin for San Martino. Like, it has to be.
No, that's Bruno's finisher.
Oh, okay.
That's why. His finisher was a bear hug.
I forgot. Man, I know we have to cover Bruno. I'm not looking forward to it.
And look, you want to know what the worst part is? If possible, he has to have multiple parts.
That's gonna be
if
tough.
Possible. We're gonna try our best, especially for those Bruno enthusiasts out there. We're gonna do our best to find more than 5 matches for this man. 5 full-length matches. It cannot be matches cut up and clipped together in 3 minutes. I'm talking like
we gotta be there.
I gotta be there bell to bell. It's going to be tough.
There is a couple slams. He does a scoop slam, does a second time. Koloff with a desperation shoulder block off the ropes. Koloff counters a third slam by Morales for a 2 count. He misses a running splash. Morales has an opening. Koloff goes for a scoop slam, goes for a knee drop from the top, misses.
Which is his finisher, apparently.
And then Morales goes up top. I didn't expect to see both people going to the top rope. Again, 1971. You don't expect
These are thick dudes.
Yeah. And he goes up for a flying crossbody for a 2.
Yeah, I did not expect a kick out.
No.
I was not. One thing I was not expecting, and what is this, 1971? 71 was a kick out on a flying crossbody. So one thing I was not expecting. And they call it crazy when we talk about fucking multiple Canadian destroyers out here. Let me tell you something.
Nothing crazier than a crossbody in the 70s.
God,
like someone having a color TV.
Yeah, Koloff. Jesus, or someone not doing coke. Koloff throws Morales corner to corner. That was the 70s, brother. I don't know what you're talking about.
¿Por qué no dos?
The 80s was crack. The Morales gets thrown head first, corner to corner. They go one side. They go across to the opposite side. Boom. And then they go to the third side. And coming off of it, Koloff goes for a German suplex. Morales pushes off the ground, gets his feet on the top turnbuckle, pushes off of that. So there actually is a German that is like Koloff connects on the German.
Yeah.
But Morales made it so that he leveraged Koloff as landing in a way where his shoulders also get pinned down. So when the ref counts 1, 2, Morales picks his shoulder up.
Yeah.
The ref counts the third fall. Since Koloff didn't lift his shoulders, He got pinned clean.
That's true. And
Morales wins the
it's a
match.
weird finish. It's not the most definitive finish you'd think for crowning a new champion, especially a new babyface champion. I thought it was interesting. I just didn't. I thought it'd be much more like, he battles back and he gets the big comeback spot and he hits the finish and wins. Not the like, hey, I'm smarter than you. Watch me do that.
Yeah.
Now,
I will say, I think sometimes we, and by we I mean Vince McMahon and Junior and Senior, are a little like kind of too protective of the heels.
Yes,
and like stuff like this. Like it's fine for them to just lose.
I am of also the mind of like, after a certain like length of match or intensity of match, it's fine for either competitor to lose.
Yeah, like Cody losing at WrestleMania was fine. It's just the manner in which he lost that was dumb.
Obviously, he's not a main eventer, but like Nick Wayne last night losing, that's fine.
Yeah, he's a fucking baby.
He's little child boy,
and he's going up against Swerve, who needed the win way more.
Yeah, it's fine. What I want to know from you, what makes crowning a champion different in the different eras? Like, this matters more, obviously, correct? Like,
yeah, because back then, kind of your champion was your breadwinner. Like you
bring the people in to go up against the champion. They put on a match. Yeah, the challenger goes away.
Like you were eating based off of who held the top title.
Yeah,
like these people weren't coming in to watch fucking. I don't even know who is it. Like, I did no disrespect to Chief J Strongbow.
I fucking knew you were gonna pull Chief J.
It's just for one reason, he's of all the names that you said earlier, he's the one that stuck with me and or came to mind at that point. Like he's not exactly feeding families. He's feeding his family, but he's not feeding the McMahons. He's not feeding the rest of the boys. Like Pedro Morales had enough popularity behind him, and you could tell clearly from this, like, it meant more then, and I guess still kind of to a certain extent, even if you look at like the golden era with Hogan, where like that was kind of, I think Hogan honestly might have been the last world champion that was kind of like that, where like this guy's feeding families, like our entire company, would be fucked if this guy was not world champion.
Yeah.
Because you get to like the Attitude Era, and Austin's title reign is obviously of a very importance, but I think what was more important was just having Austin. I don't think it was much. It's more so him being champion, because if you look at Austin's combined title reigns, like, does it even get to a year total?
I would assume it's I'm gonna say a shade over a year.
I don't think so, because he doesn't hold it for that long at any point.
We are very wrong. 529 days for Austin.
Oh, fucking tickle me. I don't even know what the goddamn. Wow. But I'm just trying to picture points, put together how. That's crazy. But no, my thing is like you look at the John Cena era, and like I just think it gets to a point where like back then, and also the length of the title reigns, I think kind of show it more than anything. Like Bruno held the title for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Pedro Morales would hold this title for what, 2?
3, I believe.
3 years? Like that's insane. And like, we go through the lists. Yeah, 3. Obviously, because Roman just passed him or is about to pass him or whatever.
Yeah.
We go through these times, and like it's more so important then because these guys are being groomed to hold these titles to move the business over. Like you put a title on a guy and you're like, okay, I need this guy to hold the belt for like 3 years.
Yeah, unless they're the transitional heel champ, right?
Yeah, so you have to have like that, like an insane amount of faith in a guy to be able to do that.
It's also the big difference between then and now. One of the big differences is before, the babyface being the champion was the draw. Now the babyface on the hunt is the draw, right? Cody finishing the story, the yes movement, like Austin going up against the Machine. That was the draw right now. Yeah. Whereas before, the draw was, hey, look at this champion that runs this place. Like, Bruno fucking ran MSG. Anyone who came through had to fight Bruno, and he would show them what's up.
Look at it on the other side. Fucking Ric Flair dominated the 80s for the NWA.
That's right. And it was, and it was funny because he's the exception where he was the heel, and people still were like, yeah, but he's our guy.
And he made other guys, it's another thing. Like, he was making guys all over. Like, you look at the WWF, like Cologne really made so much money off of Ric Flair just putting over his guy for a night.
Yeah.
And then that guy was just made for the next decade, probably.
It's true. You put on a banger of a match with Ric Flair. You put on a banger of a match with Pedro Morales, you probably took a bunch of headlock takeovers.
Speaking of Puerto Rico, Pedro Morales, shout out.
That's true. Our next thing is the promo here. And it's a promo of a match with Stan Stasiak from August 1973. It's not bad, Morales is in a nice, slick suit.
It's not his first language. We just have to talk about it. He's not a native English speaker.
No.
Back then, Puerto Rico was simply just a colony, not a U.S. territory. So it wasn't. It wasn't something that he didn't need to know English. Yeah, I think I read he came over when he was a teenager to New York.
He came over. Yeah. In adolescence, was sent by his mother to live with an aunt in Brooklyn.
Oh God.
Yeah.
He's Peter Parker.
He is Peter Parker.
Vince looks like a baby.
Vince looks like a baby. It's weird to see
30-something, by the way.
It's weird to see young people you've only seen as old people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, wow, you were a young whippersnapper once upon a time.
My thing is, it's weird to see young Ric Flair, 70s Ric Flair, when he was super young, because it's you just look absolutely nothing like you did in your prime.
You're not where you're gonna go.
You're not where you're gonna go. You look nothing alike now, obviously, but you've also abused your body with drugs and alcohol. But you don't even look like how you looked in the 80s, brother.
Morales has a nice gold watch on. It's nice. Nice suit, nice watch. Vince is talking up Stan Stasiak's heart punch, including an incident in Mexico where the opponent never got up. I'm like, ooh.
Have you ever heard or seen anything about the heart punch?
I mean, I've seen people do the heart punch.
Brother, the heart punch is the craziest thing ever because it takes so much suspension of disbelief.
Yes. It's absolutely insane is what it is.
Bro, it's just a guy punching you in the chest. And you're just supposed to act like you died.
Yeah, it's supposed to stop your heart.
It's great. It's one of my favorite finishers ever.
And
also his son was Meat.
Yes, Stan Stasiak's son is Sean Stasiak, aka Meat, aka the guy who almost ruined the invasion. Well, kind of ruined the invasion angle. What a dick. So part of the promo's in Spanish.
Okay, we'll get to that. I have a full translation.
Thank you.
He tells Vince he's doing very good, that they're 48 hours away from the big match, and that he just finished training, has been training hard for the last couple of weeks. Says that he knows Stan Stasiak is a tough challenger, and he doesn't take that lightly. And he hopes the beautiful people of New York, he loves calling people beautiful.
He does.
The beautiful people of New York give him support because he's going to need it. He says he's watched Stasiak and that you have to watch the right hand because of the hard punch. And he doesn't want to make any mistakes because he doesn't want to lose that beautiful belt that he has around his waist.
He picked one really good adjective to learn. He was like, beautiful.
It's beautiful. Can I get that beautiful sandwich? Can I get? I took this morning. Yes, I had a coffee, and then I took a beautiful shit.
I was listening to a podcast this morning, Ringers Fantasy Football Show, and they were talking about how
love the Dannies.
Yeah, the phrases that people learn incorrectly, and I guess one was an exchange student who thought that a way you could say goodbye was to say good riddance, because he's like, it says good, and people say it when someone's gone. So he just assumed it was. So he would walk up to his bosses, oh, I'm leaving for the weekend. He'd be like, okay, good riddance, which is tough.
It's tough, bro. This is where Pedro Morales goes into Spanish.
Yep.
Full translation. Sorry, I have to get my translating voice out.
Yes.
So Pedro Morales goes. I want to shout out the entire Puerto Rican colony and all of the Hispanics and invite them to come and support me as I defend my title this weekend, or my title on Monday against Stasiak. I believe him when he says he's one of the strongest wrestlers. And I believe that I myself am one of the strongest wrestlers as well. And I hope that I will make Puerto Ricans and Hispanics proud.
It's a good message. And then after the promo, Stan Stasiak waltzes into view shirtless, sideburns up, and throwing hands.
It's not even after the promo. So Vince goes, "Thank you, Pedro." Pedro gets out. If you're watching on YouTube, my finger is Pedro. Yeah. I am Vince. So Pedro out of frame, Stasiak immediately in.
Yep. And of course, like,
it's literally
with sideburns and the Grand Wizard in tow. It's a lot.
Also, we just have to talk about it. The Grand who?
Yeah, the Grand Wizard. We don't like to talk about that terrible name. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we have a 2 out of 3 falls match against Giant Baba. Back from the break, Pedro Morales would not lose the WWF Championship on that day in August in 1973, but he would lose it to Stan Stasiak in December of 1973. Do you remember who took it off of Stan Stasiak? It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Was it Backlund?
No, it's Bruno again.
Oh,
Bruno's short run came second.
Yeah.
Stan Stasiak would hold the belt for 9 days.
And then, so Bruno would take it back, and then it was Graham.
It's Superstar Billy Graham.
Let's go. And then it was Backlund.
Well done. Look at you knowing your history, knowing your knowledge. Hey, let's put this out there. Listeners, we're on YouTube now at Crossbody of Work, and we want to do a wrestling trivia show. And we want to have listeners participate. So if you think you've got what it takes to come onto the show and be smarter than Javier, you just got to hit us up at Crossbody of Work on Twitter, on Instagram. You can send us a DM and tell us that you want to be in. Just let us know, and we'll try to set something up. We'd love to have some fans. If you're a wrestling content creator, if you're a wrestler, if you're a podcast person, come get some. Come get these hands from Javier. Our next match is against Giant Baba, June 13th, 1974, 2 out of 3 falls for the Pacific Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship in the All Japan Pro Wrestling MSG Series. Giant Baba is the first ever PWF Federation champion, having won the title February 27th, 1973. I must tell you this interesting fact about how he became champion.
Go ahead.
He originally defeats the Destroyer on December 19th, 1972 via countout in the decision match. Unsatisfied with the result, Baba decided to earn the championship by winning a series of 10 matches, the last against Bobo Brazil. He was like, no, too easy. Let me just do it this way instead. You're a wild man, Baba.
That is so. And then he books himself over 10 different people.
Absolutely.
Giant Baba and Antonio Inoki were fucking menaces. And nobody will ever be able to convince me otherwise. The reason why they split and New Japan and All Japan became like a completely separate but equal thing at the top of the wrestling landscape in Japan is because both of those men were egomaniacal who thought themselves to be God in pro wrestling.
And yet, as we see in this match, gods are not infallible because, man, this match is a tough watch.
This sucks. This is the worst match of the bunch.
I disagree. There's a tag match later that I think sucked. But this one is tough, too. This one's got, it's got the pomp and circumstances. Morales comes out with the Puerto Rico flag and the U.S. flag. We got the Flower Girls. Both men are in red, but it's easy to tell them apart because Giant Baba is a full foot taller than Morales.
All right, so here's the thing. Yeah, he's taller. But, like, my blood is built like he's fucking Imani Bates. Like,
yes.
He's, like, completely barrel-chested. He has the Great Khali's fucking torso. Truly.
Yeah. Whereas Baba's built like Sporky from Toy Story.
No.
Whatever.
I'm talking about Baba. Baba has the Great Khali's torso.
Yeah.
But the issue is that all of his limbs were ripped off of a 5-year-old child.
Yes. He has pipe cleaner arms.
Bro, he's got JJ Redick's arms. Like his wingspan must be like 3
Can he shoot? Can he shoot? Can he hit the 3?
Doesn't fucking lose. Apparently, he's just an average shooter.
Morales with a headlock early, trying to wear Baba down. It's a long spot. Hip toss by Baba happens. There's an arm breaker. He's going to focus on the left arm of Morales for a while. Morales, the nicest thing that happens in this match is Morales locks in a nice head scissors to get free from an arm submission. That is genuinely the best spot.
For like 5 minutes here, Pedro Morales' whole offense is his thighs.
Yes.
I'm not even joking.
No, I mean, that's
30. This is like essentially like a 25-minute match, something around that, bell to bell. I think it was around 20, somewhere between 23 to 25, I would guess. Because the whole video is like 30 minutes and with intros and outros. 5 of those, literally a fifth of this match, is just Pedro Morales using his thighs.
Like, Morales is controlling him, and Baba keeps popping up into like pile driver position because his head is between his legs, between Morales' legs. So the only way to get out is to go up. And so he just sets himself up in pile driver position, but nothing ever happens.
And my entire time, I'm just thinking, can you fucking imagine if they just busted out a Canadian Destroyer in this match?
You know how people are like, I would go back in time in a time machine and like give a pilgrim a Fanta and just see what happened? You ever seen those? Where it's like, I don't know what to do with the time machine, so I'd like give a medieval peasant a Sprite and just see their fucking head.
Bro, if I gave, like, I just want to go back and give, like, during the Dark Ages, just give a random king, like whoever the fuck's like one of not the king of England, but one of the
like an earl or like a duke.
Yeah, like an earl or a duke. Give like an earl or a duke like a fucking McDonald's Sprite.
I'd give him a McDonald's Sprite and a double down from KFC, and watch his insides just wilt.
I want to give a spicy chicken sandwich to one of the like Nordic kings or whatever the fuck those were. Just guys who were absolutely not putting spice in any of their food. They were just eating like mutton, but raw.
I want to give 10 White Castle burgers to King Tut. Watch him die again.
He's 13!
Now, I think the reason I bring that up is because imagine you went back to the crowd here at MSG and you were like, hey, here's just a clip and it's just Ricochet and Will Ospreay just doing what they do. It's
okay.
Like, this is what wrestling can be.
Here's the thing. Let's say they put you in the match.
Okay.
And you get to plan, like you get to hit a spot that you can physically do. Like this isn't like you're hitting a choke slam on the Giant Baba. Because Evan, I love you, brother.
I know exactly what I'm going to do.
5'7".
I know exactly. Thank you for giving me an extra inch. I know exactly what I would do. I would do the draping DDT from Randy Orton and follow it with a punt. I would punt Giant Baba. And people would riot in the streets.
All right. Giant Baba, how heavy do we think he is?
Heavy.
Are we sure, though? Because he's like big. He's like tall, but he's not that big.
He's listed at 310.
I don't believe that bullshit. What? That guy is 250 at best. I genuinely, so Giant Baba, I feel like I can give that man a GTS. I feel like I can give that man. I know I can give Pedro Morales one because he is the perfect, like, he's only 5'10". I know I can pick up 5'10". I've picked up my brother.
I love it because, like, yeah, imagine you went back in time, you get to produce it, and you're like trying to explain a Hurricane Rana.
A Poison Rana. I want to hit a top rope Poison Rana.
So let me talk about the falls that actually happened in this match. The first one happens. Baba manages to get to his feet, hits a back suplex. That's the first fall.
No, it's not even that. So fucking, where am I here? I've lost my place. So Morales hits a shoulder block.
Yeah,
which he does a lot. Don't get me wrong. He gets a shoulder block. Baba takes a back bump, and then Morales goes to slap on a headlock right after, which he also does after the shoulder block every time. Baba just picks him up, hits a back suplex. First fall.
Second fall. Baba's working the arm again. Does like a hammerlock, arm breaker. Morales gets him down with a choke headlock and some more choking of Baba.
Clear choking, by the way.
Chops Morales to the apron. Morales then leaps over the top rope into the ring and knocks down Baba with his legs. I thought that would be the fall. It was not. Scoop slam and then a big seated senton from the top rope for the second fall. Morales' second fall is the best part of this match. The whole spot of him being in control is the good part of this match.
I love Giant Baba, but at no point should he. I don't understand why he was so popular. Or like, I guess it's like Yao Ming in China, where just because he's so damn tall, And like,
it's why Taco
he's
Fall
like a
keeps getting
legendary
contracts.
figure.
Yeah,
It's true. Like, it's just so he's just not good, and he's never been good. When we do the Giant Bob episode, and I am just fucking slandering him the whole time, I'm gonna get so much like hate comments on Twitter and YouTube.
Tune in for next Japanuary when we inevitably dive into Giant Baba. Third fall, Morales with some high knees in the shoulder block. Baba with a big clothesline. He wins. He retains. He would hold the belt for over 1,900 days. For context, I figured I'd just throw this in there. 1,900 days ago, who do you think was the Intercontinental Champion?
How many years is 1,900 days? That's
1,900
like
days
6
is
a little over 6 years, or no, under 6 years?
A little over 5.
A little over 5. So that would have been 2017-ish.
1,900 days ago for today was...
Is it Finn Balor?
You're in the right era. It was Rollins.
Oh, motherfucker. Because I'm thinking of when Finn Balor beat Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania.
But no, this was Rollins had just won at WrestleMania 34. That was 1,900 days ago from where we're recording. So Morales would leave.
That was like 4 characters ago.
That's true. Morales would leave WWF. He went to Big Time Wrestling in California, to the AWA for a spell in 76, 77. Championship Wrestling from Florida, where he had a very memorable feud with Don Morocco. Could not find any clips of that. Time in Canada, went to New Japan for a bit, but returned to WWF in 1980. On August 9th of 1980, he won the WWF Tag Team Championships with Bob Backlund by beating the Wild Samoans at Showdown of the Shea 1980.
Could not find that match.
They had to forfeit the championship belts due to a rule stating that no heavyweight champ, because Bob Backlund's heavyweight champ at this time, could hold a second title. Now, that's the weird thing, is they knew Morales was popular enough to be the number one guy, but they had Backlund, and they were really pushing Backlund. So that's why they made them a tag team. It's because they're like, hey, we don't really know what to do with you if not this.
They give him the rub. They wanted to give Backlund a little bit of the rub, too.
They gave him the rub. And then he decided to lean into the WWF Intercontinental Championship, and it was a feud with Ken Patera, where Morales ended up winning the title December 8th, 1980, completing the Triple Crown. We now move to June 8th, 1981, where we have a IC Championship defense against a memorable name.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Who I did not realize was a heel at this point. I didn't know he was a heel before his big heel run.
I didn't know that either, because he's just it's such an Americana gimmick that I was like, oh, you're obviously a face. But they're calling him Gomer Pyle from the Andy Griffith Show.
Which is ruined for me, because when I think of Gomer Pyle, I think of Full Metal Jacket. But that movie doesn't come out for another 6 years. So
I was too young when I learned a lot of the lines from the drill sergeant in that movie.
Oh.
I was too young to know all those lines.
Yeah.
Do you suck dick? Bullshit. I bet you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose. That's the one that I think is appropriate enough to be on the podcast. The rest are not. So
yeah, we cannot regurgitate anything from that movie. Honestly, it's a great movie, but don't watch it. Do not watch it.
Watch it once. If you're over 30, watch it once if you haven't.
If you're over 40, watch it once.
If you're over 40, you've probably seen it. What did you think of this match?
Honestly, it was pretty good.
It's okay.
I like Slaughter selling in this match more than anything.
I think Slaughter is a pretty good heel when he's not an Iraqi sympathizer. Because that was
saying he wasn't a good heel when he was an Iraqi sympathizer.
I'm saying that whole storyline and gimmick was awful.
Yeah, I think that you are a hater.
Of that gimmick?
Un-American of you.
Of that gimmick? Chalk me up as a hater. I don't care.
I just realized I said it's un-American of you. You are literally Canadian.
Exactly. I'm part of the un-Americans.
Oh, jeez, God. You know what's funny about the un-Americans is weren't they all Canadian?
Yes, that was the whole point.
It's like you would think that because they're un-American. Like they couldn't throw a Mexican in the group, maybe a fucking.
I think the whole point was people were tired of lumping Canada and America together, so they're like, we're drawing the line in the snow, and it's
but at that point,
Canadians.
We get a better version of it with Team Canada.
That's true. We absolutely do get a better version.
Shout out.
So Slaughter early on, they're trading eye rakes weirdly. I didn't think Morales would, go to the eyes because he's a
Well, he does a face rake.
Yeah.
In a couple of those matches, but it's not like illegal because he's the babyface.
Slaughter gets tossed in the corner. He's hanging on the top turnbuckle. Big swinging left hand by Morales that he loves, where he does the full windup. And then Slaughter goes into the tights and he gets something out and puts in his elbow pad. And it looks like it's just a big metal bar. And honestly, Slaughter's ability to play the ref,
hide it,
is really good. It's really, really interesting.
At one point, he puts it in his mouth.
He does. So Slaughter begs off. He gets a big elbow to Morales, who drops in agony. The ref checks on Slaughter. Slaughter's like, well, no, because he had put it in his mouth. Puts it back in the pad, hits another elbow that knocks Morales clean out of the ring. Morales' selling here is excellent.
Yeah, this is overselling done right.
Absolutely. This is like you're approaching Shawn Michaels SummerSlam, but you're not there yet.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Like you're close.
This is Dolph Ziggler most important matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slaughter goes up to the top rope. When he does a flying nothing, Morales punches him across like right on his foot as he's jumping off.
Yeah.
And somehow Slaughter flies across the ring. This is the most impressive distance I've ever seen someone that tall get.
Morales with a series of big left hands. Slaughter is out on his feet. He's swinging at nothing, which is, again, Slaughter selling is really good. Morales' offense here is everything we've seen so far. It's the headlock takeover. It's shoulder blocks. It's the big swinging left hand. He's got good left hands. He's a southpaw, if you couldn't tell.
I would say, I feel like the thing with Morales is he's got a lot of John Cena in him, where he's a really good
That's a really
dance
good comp.
partner.
That's a really good comp.
Like a really good dance partner for the era.
Even the
okay,
move,
I'm not saying,
the move selection is very oddly John Cena-ish. The strikes, the shoulder blocks, a lot of them are very vaguely John Cena.
Yeah.
But again, if Pedro Morales did a springboard stunner, I'd shit myself.
I think he'd shit himself too.
I'd lose my mind.
I think half the crowd would as well. The thing with him is he's a really good dance partner for his era. We obviously have to rein ourselves in here because we've been watching wrestling for another fucking 50 years since all these things happened. So it's it's completely different, but for the time, he's not really a good match general per se. But I think you put him in there with a guy like Slaughter, you put him in there with a guy like Koloff, not Giant Baba, and he can get you a really, really good match.
I think what it is his style and size blend enough with pretty much anybody. That's why he could be a good champ. Also, he's just a genuinely likable guy.
Well, I mean, he's Puerto Rican, so he'll their babyface. I'm rooting for him.
That's fair. And we all know how good Puerto Rico is rooting for people because we saw Backlash, and that shit was crazy.
I do believe, by the way, first Latino world champion.
Shout out to Pedro Morales.
Probably not in North America. I assume they won some. Not including. Sorry,
not including the Koloffs. Yeah,
USA.
Yeah, continental North America.
Yes, not continental North America. Actually, no, because that includes Mexico as well. So the United States, I think he's the first Latino world champion. So shout out to Pedro Morales.
We finally got there. Slaughter grabs the ref in a daze and hits him, and that gets Slaughter DQ'd. He and Morales continue brawling as Slaughter tosses the ref. Morales gets the best of Slaughter and sends to the outside, and Morales stops Slaughter, who was choking the ref on the apron. Poor referee. Bad.
The referee deserved it, but also didn't deserve it.
Not like this. Never like this. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we have a terrible tag match to talk about. Back from the break, and we have Pedro Morales teaming up with Tito Santana against the dangerous duo of Les Thornton and Mr. X, July 27th, 1985. Mr. X is from Parts Unknown with Weight Unknown. Do you know who's under the mask?
I don't, but I love that. I love that whenever they say nothing about the person, I'm all in.
I mean, spoilers for a gimmick that's almost 40 years old. Mr. X is Dangerous Danny Davis, a.k.a. the crooked referee. That's what he would get on the card, and he would be Mr. X. It was never brought up as a, connecting the two. It's just they needed someone to be... It's like when somebody was the bunny. Remember when people were trying to figure out online, who was in the bunny suit? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they never figured it out.
No. I hope the bunny is how Bray Wyatt comes back. He's the bunny the whole time. Everyone's like, oh, he's a madman.
I only believe in one bunny, and it's Allie.
That's true. Tito's the IC champ and is at this point, at least with this crowd, more over than Pedro at the time. If I was
he's incredibly over.
If I was the booker, Morales is turning on Santana immediately.
You leave Chico alone. He just got turned on by his friend.
I mean, I think it fits. I think it's perfectly. Vince is on commentary, mentions the Triple Crown, but they didn't have a name for it yet, so they don't call it Triple Crown, which I found funny. But also, the voiceover is talking about a show coming to Lowell, Massachusetts.
Yes, sir.
You hear that?
Yes, sir. We love it, baby. Where all the old factories are.
They're running a main event of Terry Funk versus the Junkyard Dog, which sounds awesome in 1985.
I wish I was there.
That sounds great.
Wish I was there. Junkyard Dog, who I think had his Dark Side of the Ring episode come out.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
2 weeks.
I gotta watch that.
Which is absolutely heartbreaking, but also great.
As they're running the crowd, do you ever miss the things? It would be usually the last thing before the commercial break ended, where they'd be in the WWE studio or whatever, and they talk about whatever tour was coming near you.
Yeah,
I miss those.
I do.
Come see Edge and Christian take on the Hardy Boys in a tag team title match at Cops Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario, and I'd be like, oh fuck, I gotta go to Hamilton.
Nowadays, all we get is freaking Excalibur just talking at the end of Dynamite or right before the main event of Dynamite as fast as he can. My boy's just struggling,
just rap godding his way through it. Morales is 43 here, and this is the first time that he starts to look a bit older. Don't remember, he's looked old the whole time.
He kind of just looks the same.
No, I mean, the way he moves looks older.
Yeah, he's a little slower.
Yeah.
I will agree with you on that one. So we stand Latino tag champs. So shout out to my guys.
Los Matadors?
No, these two. Shout out. Listen, man, you're telling me you want Morales to turn on Tito. Tito, Strikeforce just blew up, man.
That's true. He's still tender.
He still has Martel's wound in his heart. And you want to tell me that Morales is just going to open that right back up again?
What wonderful heat that would be.
God, you're such a dick.
I love it. Give me the heat.
That's such good shit.
Santana is in the match while Mr. Fuji is on commentary, shilling for Manager of the Year like Embiid shilling for the MVP. It's crazy.
This award has a bunch of white men voting for it. You're only going to vote for the white man because he's white. There's no reason why he should be the 3-time MVP. He's a white man doing white man things, even though this guy's clearly the best basketball player in the world and went on to win the NBA Finals. And I know that has no bearing over the MVP, but anyone who had eyes and understands basketball would have seen that in the regular season and would have been like, yeah, this guy probably absolutely deserved it.
I almost think that it's just hey, if we don't give it to that guy, he's going to cause us a scene. I know that other guy won, but he's cool as hell. So let's just let him go hang out with his horses. And let's give it to this guy because he's about to blow the whole place up if we don't give it to him.
It's stupid.
That's Mr. Fuji trying to
he won MVP, and his career is just going to go down the goddamn toilet drain because Philly's going to blow up. He's going to get traded to the Knicks. The Knicks will always be a goddamn dumpster fire.
Mr. X is in. And we have Morales in. Morales whips him into Santana. Big shot to the stomach, and Morales tags right back up.
Headlock takeover, baby.
Headlock takeover.
And another one. And another one.
Santana with a big diving forearm. He gets 3. Its match is bad, but, it's a fun
You're a hater. My thing with this and why I chose this match more than anything is because, one, it's a match that I can find bell to bell. But also, I just kind of thought it was interesting. He's tagging with Tito Santana. I like Tito Santana. The Tito Santana two-parter is going to be incredible.
I do like Tito. I like Tito a lot. It's just not that good of a match overall.
Well, I'm sorry that Danny Davis couldn't entertain you.
I'm sorry there's no poison rounders in this match. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you couldn't hit what the fuck was the move that you wanted to hit again? I'm sorry there's no draping DDTs and punts.
I just think it's the only one that I could possibly get one of these guys going for.
I don't know. The punt would be tough, especially if it's like let's say you try to do it on the giant Baba. That's a 6'10" motherfucker right there. You think you can get your leg that high?
The punt, he's on the ground. That'll be fine.
Yeah, but he's still... Brother, at one point, Morales has a headlock on him. This guy's down on his knee, and they're the same height.
It's true. Our last match is from February of 1987. We have a now 45-year-old Pedro Morales going up against Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. The clip starts with Gorilla and Heenan talking about Benedict Arnold, a.k.a. Paul Orndorff. Monsoon asks Heenan where he is, and Heenan says that he can guarantee Orndorff will be at WrestleMania 3, but not competing. He'll be there to congratulate Andre the Giant after he beats Hulk Hogan in the main event. This is exactly this time of this is that era. It's very fascinating to watch because like we all know the Slam and the Hogan Andre, and it's weird to be like this is the build up. It's weird to see it. I don't know. It feels different.
Well, here's the thing: is listen. While I understand that match is super important and all this other stuff, the match just should have been Orndorff against Hogan. Like that was the hot feud for like the entirety of SummerSlam into WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
Like that was literally the money feud. They did it for so long every night, pretty much everywhere. Orndorff was the most hated man in the company. He's absolutely looks like $1 million. If they're going to do a title change at any point there, it would have made a whole lot of sense for them to do that. And then Hogan wins the title back at Mania, and they have like this big, huge moment, yada, 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 yada. I understand the Andre match made sense. I'm not selling you revisionist history. I would have changed it or anything. I'm just saying, like, if you look back with a logical perspective, like that just, or for not logical, but like storyline continuity purposes, that's the one that makes sense.
But then how would Hulk Hogan have slammed Andre the Giant in front of 300,000 screaming Hulkamaniacs, brother?
It's actually 100,000.
Not every time he tells it. By the time he's dead, it's going to be 1 million.
Let's hope that's soon.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, I love this whole thing with Brain and Gorilla. Brain and Gorilla, Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon are like, I can't think of a duo, like not even just announced team, but like, you know, in on the broadcast side of things that has had better chemistry than these two guys ever.
I would say I agree with you. If I had to pick a modern one that like had that chemistry, and this is going to pain me to say because I know you love them and I did not like him at all, Michael Cole and Taz were very good.
Yeah, but the thing is, honestly, I didn't even think you were going with that. I thought you were going to go with McAfee and Cole, but
not enough time yet.
Yeah, I know, but the chemistry was there because they're legitimately like really good friends. My thing is like just the way that they're able to play off of each other. They're just in sync always. It is excellent. I'm not going to say that they're the greatest announcing duo ever because I don't think that they are. But
Jim Ross and Lawler,
it just has to be.
It has to be.
Just has to be. And I know it's going to catch a lot of heat probably from the golden era people who love Hulk Hogan, and I hate Hulk Hogan, so fuck all of you. But like they're just great. Anyways, we go back wrestling. Pedro Morales has a clean ass jacket.
Very
love
clean.
the jackets that he wears. Love them.
Still a big cheer from Morales. He's still very popular.
Yes. Even though he would retire like relatively soon. Is this his last year actually, 87?
It is his last year. Orndorff is coming out to Real American because he stole the music from Hulk Hogan, which is great. It ties into your theory about how they should have had the match. Me too. Shoulder tackle early by Morales. Scoop slam. Orndorff slides to the outside to regroup. Orndorff is punched in the face and takes a second in the corner to compose himself.
Yes, shoulder block, scoop slams by Morales. Punch to the gut.
Big punch to the gut.
Love that. Morales gets him up against the ropes and then like knees him back, and Morales like falls out of the ring.
Yes, onto the commentary desk, and then he's getting stomped and he get hit with elbows. It's a lot.
Heenan goes away, and then when he comes back, he's like, I had to go away so that you wouldn't think that I would interfere in this match. And Gorilla goes, I would have stopped you.
I would have not let you do that. Snapmare by Orndorff. He goes to the top. Morales up to his feet with a strike as he comes off the ropes. It gets him in the gut.
That's a big gut.
Orndorff is run to a few turnbuckles. We get the big wind-up left by Morales, and then a crossbody by Morales. Orndorff rolls through, foot on the ropes. He gets the pinfall. Of course, Orndorff needs to be kept hot heading into WrestleMania, where he's not facing Hulk Hogan.
Is he on the card?
I don't think he's on the card at all.
That's another thing. I don't think he even had a match. This guy was the biggest heel in the company at this point. Even going into that WrestleMania, I know. Andre had the turn and everything, but that wasn't even. I don't think it was heel Andre as much as it was just pro Hogan. more than anything. So like like Orndorff was the big heel in '87.
So he's not on the card, and to figure it out, I command F'd Paul, right? But there was something
Okay.
that came up for Paul. The record for the record for the largest indoor event that WrestleMania 3 held stood until January 27th, 1999, when it was surpassed by the papal mass of Pope John Paul II at the TWA Dome in St. Louis, Missouri. Drew an audience of 104,000 screaming Cathlomaniacs, brother. All right, let's talk about Pedro Morales retiring. He made his final in-ring appearance as a wrestler by participating in a battle royal November 16th, 1987. Following his retirement, he became a road agent, later commentator for WWF Spanish language programming. The first time that a Puerto Rican performed this duty for an international promotion. He then did the same role in WCW, narrating Nitro and pay-per-views. Yeah.
Love that.
Morales had a very simple life. Met a woman named Karen Johnson in 1965 when she attended an event in Long Beach. Dated for 5 years while she was working as a teacher. They kept a spot. Like, he kept moving around, obviously, because of his work. But by the time his son was about to start kindergarten, they bought a house in Central Jersey, and they just stayed there. Like, they had a central location, and Morales would go and do the work. That. He says the resources gathered in the industry were reinvested into stocks, bonds, and properties, which allowed him to capitalize long-term. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 95, and as of now, is the only living person to not attend their own induction.
I love that. That is amazing. That is a flex and a half right there from Pedro Morales.
Bad blood, just wasn't interested. I find that fascinating. Unfortunately, we have lost Pedro Morales. An advanced case of Parkinson prevented him from traveling to Puerto Rico in his final years, and then he died February 12th, 2019. He had some cardiac afflictions and cancer as well. What did you think, finally getting to give Pedro Morales some flowers?
I loved it, man. Like, this is a guy that I can understand why he was a top guy back in the 70s.
I get it. I get the appeal.
He just had this, like... When we talk about these like top guys, like the cream of the crop top guys, they all have this like, this like kind of just it factor, this like natural charisma, or even just like they don't even have to be like full on charismatic people. Like, you look at a guy like, I don't know, like Jeff Hardy. When Jeff Hardy picks up a microphone, I don't give a fuck what this man's saying, because he's not a good promo. No. But he just has this like natural charisma to him. Every time I see this guy, Darby Allin's the same way. I think Darby Allin has like, he's not a great promo by any stretch of the imagination. Hell, he's not even like that much of an overtly charismatic human being in general, in or out of the ring. But like, he just has this like natural like thing,
an aura. Him.
Yeah. Like, and I think he could absolutely be a top guy one day. But like, you talk about like the cream of the crop. I'm talking like John Cena. Fucking John Cena and John Cena. No, like Hogan, Cena, Austin, Rock, all these guys. Like, yes, they were incredible on the mic.
Yeah,
but they also had this like aura, this like sphere, this like natural, this like thing where you look at them and you're just like, that's it. That's the fucking guy right there.
Yeah,
like, I want to go to this show to see that guy do whatever the fuck it is he does. And I could see Pedro having that. Obviously, it's in a different way because, when you look at a Pedro Morales, you don't think of him with that upper echelon, mostly because he's in Bruno's era, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, overshadowed.
But I could see him being like a top guy because he has it. Whatever it is, I think he's right there with the guys like, he's not a Mount Rushmore contender, but he's absolutely a, fringe guy. When they say he's a Hall of Famer, yeah, that guy's first fucking ballot. You know what I mean?
It's tough to be like the second or third best of an era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's tough. Like, it's hard to be, God, I'm trying to think of the right basketball analogy. It's tough to be Melo. Maybe Melo's the best because, like,
one point is Melo the second best player of an era.
I mean, if you want, like, I'm talking mainly draft class, right? Like,
okay,
because you're always. Some people would argue, I'd put him ahead of Wade. You shouldn't, but he's still great and he deserves flowers and he's really awesome. But like,
it's like here's where the real comp is. Like, Michael Jordan's awesome.
Correct.
Love Michael Jordan.
Correct.
Great fucking player. You know what's really tough is being any of the other guys in Michael Jordan's dominant era.
I was going to say, you know, maybe he's Clyde Drexler. He got a run at the top, and it was good.
What? You know what pisses me off is this whole like revisionist history with Damian Lillard, like when they're calling him like the greatest trailblazer ever.
Oh, it's Clyde
Drexler led them to 2 NBA finals and was the second best guard, not shooting guard in basketball.
It's Clyde Drexler.
Behind Michael Jordan. I'm sorry, he couldn't be better than the greatest player of all time.
The reason that they didn't take Michael Jordan is because they had Clyde Drexler.
Also, there's Bill Walton. Like, I know his run wasn't as long as Damian Lillard's has been, or even Clyde Drexler, but he won them the only championship in franchise history.
Shout out
single-handedly.
Shout out to Brandon Roy. All right. Shout out to Pedro Morales. Truly, this was really fun. Yeah. Some of the matches weren't great. Looking at you, Baba, but at the same time, you see the appeal. You understand it, and this is what it's all about. Getting to dive back in and see some of these guys. You should follow us on places, all the different places, specifically YouTube. If you're not already watching on YouTube, you should check us out on YouTube, see our wonderful faces, see how animated we get during these discussions. You should also hit the like, hit the thumbs up, and hit subscribe as we continue to pump out more content. We just did World War III. We reviewed the 60-man, 3-ring train wreck that is World War III from WCW, specifically the one from 1995. Go and watch us talk about that. We've got some draft content that's up there. We've got, Wrestler Revisited, where we go back into wrestlers we've already covered on the podcast. We've got mini-sodes. Go and check it out there. We've got some fun shorts. Javier's done some grid games.
I'm real good at these.
They've been challenging, but they've been good.
Have they been?
Oh, they're going to get harder. Don't you worry. Also, check us out on Twitch. I have been streaming AEW Fight Forever, and it's been a good time because we are taking our favorite wrestler, King Mabel, all the way to the AEW World Championship. Check us out on Twitch. Javier's been in the chat. It's been a good time.
No, but actually, go watch it. This shit's fucking hilarious.
At Crossbody of Work on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on the Twitter. Javier, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. Should I get a Threads?
Get a Threads.
Is that a thing I have to do?
I should also get a Threads. You can follow some Threads at Crossbody Work too. Follow me on Twitter at 7gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. FullPressShop.com. Cop the merch. Support the boys. FullPressWrestling.com for all the links to this week's matches. I think the recommendation is the same for both of us. It's probably the Ivan Koloff match.
I said Koloff, but you can't go wrong. I would say Koloff, Slaughter, or Wonderful. Honestly, they're all equally great. Neither of them are really that long. So if you want to just do the triple feature, go ahead.
Yeah, you'll learn a lot. You'll see a lot of interesting things. You'll have a really good time. Next week, we continue to dive into what I would consider like pioneers of wrestling. This is a woman who did a lot in her time, in a time when really women's wrestling was not featured. She's kind of looked at as the originator in terms of WWF, specifically women's wrestling. We are, of course, talking about Medusa Alundra Blaze.
Yes, one that I am very excited to cover. Mostly because I'm excited to just watch her matches. I don't know that I've ever really seen an Alundra Blaze match or a Medusa match aside from any of the ones that we've done so far on this podcast. Maybe with like Bull Nakano. Was she in one of those?
She has had she's shown up in a Bull Nakano episode, and she's shown up in one other episode. I don't remember who, but I know she's shown up one other time. And so I'm excited to actually dive in to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I hope that these are good because honestly, I feel like we've been on a pretty decent streak with at least some good matches in some of these episodes. That we haven't really had many stinkers outside of one or two per episode.
Yeah, we're on a pretty good run.
Looking forward to this.
God, Baba really, really screwed us, didn't he?
Well, Haas month's coming up soon, so
get excited for August. Get excited for Haas month, my favorite time of the year. Everyone's favorite time of the year. It's the 4th Haas month. Haas month 4. What does that make us in Fast and Furious movies?
It's literally Fast and Furious.
Oh, so Haas and month. I'm so excited for Haas and month.
Because it's the Fast and the Furious. There's 2 Fast, 2 Furious. There's Tokyo Drift, and then it's just Fast and Furious.
Yes, join us for Haas month and the Goblet of Fire. Very excited for that.
Or join us for Haas Month Ghost Protocol.
Javier, it's time for everyone's favorite part of the episode. Any final words for the people?
Honestly, this week's Life Advice with Javier is just me fangirling about the fact that I get to see Kota Ibushi live next week. It's a great time, but it's also, part of my advice in this is when an event is coming to town, do not give it time. Do not think, oh, I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna see what the card looks like, or as I get closer to shows. One, that's a dumb idea because ticket prices will just go up.
Yep.
Two, like do you not understand? Like, I would have been fucked if this blood and guts thing was announced like earlier and I hadn't bought my tickets yet. Like, these things would have tripled in price.
Yep.
Just do that. But also, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's good to support wrestling when it comes to town. Like, obviously, I don't go to many indies around here, which I should, and I know I should. But the issue with that is, one, I honestly just don't want to invest the time in doing that more than anything. Like, support your local indies. I'm telling you, everyone, do it. I just have so much wrestling in my life on a regular basis that I just, like, if I'm gonna go to an indie, they've really got to make it worth my while. And I really do feel like WWE and AEW are at a point where they are making it worth everyone's while. Yeah. So if they are coming into your town, go out there as soon as it's announced. Go and buy your tickets. They're going to be at their cheapest, and the cards are always going to fucking deliver. They have great wrestlers all up and down the card in both companies. So if you go, I guarantee you something's going to be good, unless it's a Monday Night Raw. Then those are kind of hit or miss, and I'm sorry about that.
Shout out to my local indie. They're bringing in Allen Angels, and they're also bringing in Madman Fulton at the end of August. So you know what? I'm going to go.
Didn't they get Evil Uno the other day or something like that?
They had Trent Seven a couple weeks ago, or like a month or two back. So
yeah, another short, fat guy.
I got to get in on the ground floor. The other time that we covered Medusa was against Wendy Richter. So
there it is.
I'm sure there was someone like King Chad out there being like, you guys have covered Medusa before. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We're back next week talking about Medusa, aka Alundra Blaze. We'll talk to you then.
Beautiful people.